Matia City Expats Club is a non-profit social organisation and our speakers are volunteers. The club as such assumes no responsibility or liability for the professional reputation of or the quality of services provided by the speaker today.
So you've seen a bit of a buzz around, magnetic buzz perhaps. We have a magnetic person, teacher / presenter this morning, Michael. But I thought most of us have never really heard about this machine, and Michael's going to introduce it to us, etc. But I thought what would be a really fun way to start it off is George had a visitor there this week, Ron, who happened to try out the machine. Come up and share your experience. Obviously, not everybody has such an immediate effect on them, but this is a really interesting story. How much of an effect did you think it would have?
It's been amazing.
No, but when you put it on you, what did you think? Nothing.
Well, no, it got warm, but I believed it would work. Okay, I was told it would work, and I had no reason to believe otherwise. I've had a almost 2.5 year ordeal with my left knee. I hurt my knee January 2023. It has driven me crazy. I have had 5 shots of cortisone. I've done prednisone, Voltaire, ibuprofen, anti-inflammatories, countless massages, aspirin, ibuprofen, Tiger Balm, heating pad, ice pack, rest, exercise, and nothing has really worked. I went and saw George. We watched the Formula One race. While we watched the race, I held it on my left knee for about 2 hours, and it stopped hurting almost immediately. When I walked out of George's building to go home, the pain that I was experiencing that morning was gone. 3 days later, it feels great. No pain at all. Feel like playing football or running or dancing. And my energy level is off the charts. I've slept about 12 hours in the last 3 nights, and every morning I wake up feeling fresh. Feel great this morning. Slept about 6 hours last night. It really is a game changer.
So there you go. The money's on the receipt. And I have to say I've had an ongoing issue with sciatica at night, and I've been using the Yoko on it at night. And I used it one day, and that night I didn't have sciatica, and the next night I didn't have sciatica, and so I think it's something we haven't heard about before, and I think something that's worth knowing about. And this is the guy who's developed this version of the machine. Come on up, Michael. Round of applause.
Thank you, Ren. First of all, thank you all for coming here and having a listen to the presentation today. Hopefully you'll get a lot out of it. First of all, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving any real true medical advice. That's a little bit of a disclaimer I have to start with. Firstly, I'd like to tell you a little bit about my history. Here we go. I was born into a farming family. At the age of 15, I started work for my dad. And as you know, on a family farm, it's pretty hard work. By the time I was 26, I was married, 3 beautiful young girls. I was actually working pretty hard, growing 3,000 tons of wheat and had 5,000 head of cattle. So I'm actually a very hard worker. But my body is paying the price. Now, I'll just give you a little bit of my body history. At the age of 14, I dislocated my hip. Playing football, numerous amounts of concussion, hospital, all that sort of stuff. When I was 17, I went to a carnival, an amusement ride, and I was on, it was an American machine, I think one of those hurricane amusement rides that went up in the air like an octopus, and that cart came off, went flying over the alley, through a tree, hit a car, smashed the caravan up. I was one of the lucky ones. I only broke my neck and a few bones in my body and a few ribs. My 3 friends weren't so lucky. So that was the start of my pain for the rest of my life, because as you know, once you go through something like that, your body never heals. During my farming life in my mid-30s, because I grew a lot of wheat, I was exposed to a lot of chemical, and unfortunately I got chemical poisoning. I spent 3 months in hospital with chemical poisoning, which gave me the shakes. I was in critical care, and once I got out of hospital, I found it very hard to run the farm. So unfortunately I had to sell the farm and retire at 34 years old, which I didn't want to retire because I was a very active sort of person. My kids think I've got 9 lives, but they don't know half the stuff I've got away with in my life. So I'm very fortunate to be able to stand here on my 2 feet because I was bedridden for over 6 months with chronic pain. Now, about 3-4 years ago, I was on a business trip to Thailand, and I came across this wonderful thing called PEMF machine, which changed my life. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show most people have had a bit of a look at the machine outside. I'm going to run a short video here of a real doctor explaining what it actually does.
Hello my friends, and welcome to this video about pulsed electromagnetic fields, also known as PEMF. If you are someone who's dealing with any type of health condition, especially one that involves pain, this video is going to be for you. Now I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about PEMF, something I think you should be aware of for 2 reasons. First, because it's likely to relate to what you're experiencing, not so much the cause of it. Second, the possibility that it can help you recover or improve your condition if you use it correctly. Now before we dive into the topic, let's start with some basics. Every life form that was born on this planet and came into existence on planet Earth was immediately exposed to Earth's magnetic field. That's why the magnetic compass works when you're on Earth. All of the cells, tissues, and organs in your body have a myriad of functions that rely on tiny electrical charges in order for them to carry out their critical functions. Now, these electric charges need to be in motion, generating small electromagnetic fields. Think of an electrical generator that works by spinning wire coils with a magnetic field. This generates tiny electric charges that manifest and form a flow of electricity. Your body works in a similar way. For example, your heart is an organ that works by electrical currents that contract the various chambers in the proper sequence so that they can pump blood. Now, if we took the heart out of your body, it could still work because of those electric signals. Your nerves also work by a flow of tiny charges, and even tasks that generate what's called an action potential that eventually gets to the target tissue. Muscle contraction requires the tiny flow of charged particles such as sodium, potassium, and calcium in order to work. And your immune system also relies on tiny electrical charges. Numerous processes occur when your body fights an invasive microorganism. You've got the mobilization of cells, lymphocytes, monocytes. They communicate with each other via chemical signals that involve these tiny little charges. Wound healing also involves a number of these things that happen. Inflammation occurs, which involve the appearance and assembly of various factors that are involved in blood clotting and tissue repair. Cells migrate to the area of injury. Monocytes phagocytose debris, and fibroblasts secrete collagen. All of these processes require the movement of tiny electrical charges for them to occur. Now we're living in a modern world, and we've got electronics all around us: laptops, cell phones, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and so forth. Now, I'm not saying to be scared of this or that it causes things like cancer or disease, but doesn't it make sense that if you have tiny electrical charges in your body that your body systems rely on to work properly, the tiny magnetic fields that are produced and mimic the external electromagnetic fields that passes through your body can influence these processes? That's where PEMF comes in. Pulse electromagnetic frequency, or PEMF, is the purposeful generation of electromagnetic fields, and there's a lot of research that has been done that shows the efficacy and effectiveness of using PEMF on a variety of health conditions. You don't have to take my word for it. Go to Google and search for PubMed. This is the website open to the public.
All right. Now, he was a real doctor explaining exactly how it works. Now, after traveling to Thailand and using the PEMF machine, I honestly, because my neck had, I had surgery on my neck after like 55 years of putting up with a lot of arthritis, pain in my neck. I felt like Lurch. I used to move like this, and it was very difficult to work without pain. And even I couldn't be in a room with air conditioning because I had no circulation in my neck. Now, when I came over here to work, I came across a PEMF machine, and what happened is my friend said, here, have a go at this machine, which I did, and honest to God, it was like someone putting a can of WD-40 straight in my neck, and I thought, holy hell, it worked straight away. I thought, this is just, if it didn't happen to me, I wouldn't have believed it. And then I've never met George's friend. I didn't even know that he has used the machine until this morning. And they're the sort of things I like to hear, and that's why I went home from Thailand, and I actually bought a PEMF machine here. I was so impressed. I took it back to Australia, and a very good friend of mine, Barry, at the age of 17, he put in a MRI machine in the Royal Sydney Hospital at the age of 17. He's a very talented guy. He was doing his electronics apprenticeship at that stage, and I took my machine to him. I said, mate, these are too expensive for the normal person. I want to be able to build these machines bigger and better. And he looked at it and said, mate, I don't like this machine. This is wrong. What's wrong with it? That's what's wrong with it. And I said, okay, can you build me a machine that I can basically, I had no intention of selling it to the public. All I wanted to do was give them to my family because it was such an incredible machine. And so that's what I did. So it took 6 months for Barry to put together, and because Barry has been building medical equipment for the last 3 decades, and how I knew Barry, because I used to work for the fellow, he used to supply medical equipment too. And he sold ionizers, which most people know what ionizers are. I have actually 2 ionizers at the front of this machine, which as soon as you turn the machine on, it will purify your whole room, and it puts out negative ions, about 18,000 negative ions in a per cubic meter per minute. So especially living in Thailand with the pollution here, what happens is the negative ions come out of the machine, and because they're negative, the dirt and the pollens, the dust in the air, a positive charge, it will hook onto them and it will drop them to the ground. Ren was telling me he's got a purifier in his room that he leaves going 24/7. He knows that the gauge on the purifier wasn't. He said it hardly turns on now because the ionizer machine takes all the pollutions out of the air. So that's just another added advantage I've got with one of these machines, except besides the pulsing that fixes your other side of your health. Okay, what is PEMF therapy? Let's break it down. Basically, as soon as you start the machine, there's 16 different programs on the machine, and each program has a different frequency. Now, the FDA have approved a lot of different frequencies to fix certain ailments that you might have. Now, basically, we've got 98% water in our bodies. So what happens is, that's why everyone was offered an electrolyte, because the salt, electrolytes in the water go straight into your bloodstream, and the pulse, the electromagnetic field magnifies in your body and fixes your cells on a cellular basis. Now, they call them a magic, or my grandson calls them a magic machine. He's got ADHD. My daughter has been using them, testing them out for the last year and a half in Sydney, Australia, and it certainly has calmed his nerves down. He used to drive his mother crazy. Now he's a pretty normal little boy. Now, PEMF therapy, I don't know. I've had some people outside saying, where do I put it? On my back, on my head, wherever. For some reason, if you put it on the back of your neck, that's where the central nervous system of your body is, and for some reason it will go to whatever ailment is hurting the most, because what happens is when you have an injury, you get pain. Now, for some reason, your brain will send blood to that area, and that's how it fixes. It'll go to your major problem in your body. So Doesn't matter if you've got a cut in your little finger, it will send the pulse and the oxygen to your little finger or your knee, your sciatic nerve, your broken ankle, wherever it goes. I don't know how all that works, but it just does work. Small thing, in Australia, because these have been approved, especially the FDA in America, for depression. We have a lot of soldiers come back from the war. They suffer a lot of PTSD. Now, there's frequencies in this machine that will help you with anxiety, drugs, all that sort of stuff. This fellow here runs a charity down the Gold Coast and helps the homeless people. So they're very good as far as I've donated this machine to these people, and they have all the homeless people in their clinics lined up ready to try it, which makes me feel good too. Pulsing magnetic field. It's obviously generated by an electric current flowing through one or two more coils of copper or aluminium. Now, this coil here, it's pure copper, 1.3 kilos of copper wire, and it's matched to the voltage on each program to give you maximum effect. Now, with PEMF machines, there's high intensity machines and there's low intensity machines. You're wasting, be honestly, if you go on Mr. Google, a lot of them will tell you it's a waste of time buying low intensity machines. I'm not saying they don't work, most of them all work. They're all brilliant. But a high intensity machine, you only need a fraction of the time spent on them. So if you've got all day to use them with low intensity machines, but if you're going to invest in one, you're better off to buy something that's going to actually work. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. A guy who had a stroke, 64 years old, he was 2 years before he found the PEMF machine, used it, and immediately he slowed his shaking down, which is incredible, and he said he's used everything else and nothing worked. This is actually my daughter
Right, so it's off,
in Sydney.
not moving
The
on.
magnetic field going through her body.
Off. Right down.
She's lying on her back, putting the magnet. Because it goes straight through your body, that's a good indication, so it doesn't matter where you put on your body. The low intensity machines will not go through your body. The high intensity machines obviously will. All right, see enough of that one. Life is energy. Everybody is a battery. Our Earth's a battery, we are a battery. You go to bed at night time to sleep, to restore, to charge your batteries up. This PEMF machine does it on a magnetic field, charges your battery up. Obviously you can see there that a sick person is obviously got the positive charges are right down. When you use the PEMF machines, the negative charge will charge your body up. We can heal just about anything there is to heal with this machine. Now, as soon as you put it on, the immediate effects you get increases the oxygen level, and this machine has actually got two ways of doing it, through the coil and also through the ionizer. There's a lot of wellness centers in America. There's a very interesting guy, Dr. Pewitt, who has written this book here. Now, he used to have 150 surgeries on the east coast of America. He sold everything up, and he's now got 15 wellness centers, and all he does is has PEMF machines in them because he feels that this is a way to treat people. Doctors, all they want to do is get you back, keep taking your money off you. If I had all the money I spent on chiropractors in my life, I'd be a very rich man. But I haven't been to see a chiropractor since I've been introduced to the PEMF machine. Okay. What else does it do? It just about does everything. Detoxification, and that's why you have to drink the electrolytes to flush it out of your body, because it will free up the toxins in your body, and it can get stuck in your brain, in your kidneys. Hopefully you can urinate it out. But I've got a video later on that I'll show you about the dangers of PEMF. They are 100% safe as long as you use them properly.
Andrew, it's Tony Robbins. Listen, I'm reaching out for two reasons. One is to thank you. If you recall, about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I tore my rotator cuffs, and I was in such pain in my spine as well with spinal stenosis that I could barely stand it. You came to my house and sold me that PEMF machine, and I used it. I got to tell you, it took me from 9 pain down to about 5 or 6 the very first day. But as I kept using it over the months, it took me down to 1s to 3s. And then a few times 4 or 5, and I went down and stem cells twice in a row, cord stem cells in Panama. And the doctors all told me I'd have surgery, and I don't have any surgery, and my arm is perfect. I can do anything I want to do with it. I play racket sports all the time, and no problems whatsoever. So, thank you.
Most people know Tony Robbins. Tony is got great credibility. He says it works, and it really does. He wouldn't put his name to a PEMF machine if it wasn't going to work. Now, there's been a lot of studies done about PEMF, mainly through NASA. They've done all sorts of trials, mainly with different frequencies, treating different ailments. They've just approved a new frequency, which is 75 hertz, which rebuilds cartilage rebuild. If you break your bone, any part of your bone, what happens, it will rebuild the cartilage in your bone, whatever you've broken. It's amazing. Now, that's the two main frequencies in this machine, except for the the low frequencies, which is for Alzheimer's, depression. They're 1 or 2 hertz. Once program 5, which is a main frequency we use on this machine, which is 10 hertz, that's mainly for the nervous system. Now, your whole body is a nervous system, so that is the main frequency we use. And then for specific things like the collagen cartilage rebuild is program 11 at 75 hertz. Now, as you can see up there, NASA did a 4-year study in the PEMF machines. They increased the stem cells by 400%. Now, that's quite amazing. 400%. People are having stem cell injections. They're putting chemicals, whatever. We don't know what's in the stem cells they're injecting into you. This treatment will do the same thing, only it's 100% natural. Now, that's a little bit that's what's inside the machine. There is a microprocessor in it. I decided after seeing what was in the one I bought wasn't up to standard, so I got my friend Barry, as I said before, who's had 3 decades of industry background building medical machines. He made this machine for me and added the ionizer to it. The ionizer is TGA approved in Australia, and we're in the process of getting it approved TGA in Australia, which is a very high standard. So, and then I decided, well, look, I've sold them a few very good friends, and they all got great results. They're all ringing me up saying, hey, this has fixed this, and it just went on and on. And that's why I decided I'm coming to Thailand to retire, and I might start manufacturing them over here. It'll be the next step. Okay, as most of you saw outside how to use the PEMF, what I'll do is I'll just turn it on for those people who didn't see it outside. The machine's actually, as soon as you turn it on the side, and a P will come up, which is program. Now it's got 16 different programs on it. It starts off with program 1. There's a program button here, which you push, and we're going to go up to program 5, which is the most common one, 10 hertz. Now, as soon as that, we go to program 5 and we push the start button, it'll automatically start on 10 minutes. Now, if your body is very sensitive to electromagnetic fields, you can decrease it down to 2 minutes and start off at 2 minutes so your body gets used to it, which is highly recommended. 10 minutes is a fairly normal time. This machine, we can take it up to 30 minutes at a time, but that's only once your body gets accustomed to the frequencies. You can't just go and start off in 30 minutes. You've got to be sensible about this machine's not a toy. It's and I won't say it's a medical machine. As I said, my grandkids call it a magic machine, grandpa's magic machine. So, oh yeah, you can use it for 2 hours, and depending what you have it, what's wrong with you too. Yeah. Now, you'll notice that there's some red stickers coming off that. There's a red side and a blue side. Like any, when you go to charge a battery up, you have a positive and negative. Your body's the same, right? So you always have the positive side facing away from your body, because there's this magnetic field. There's that's the magnet will jump around, and always the red side will go out. If I turn that around the other side, the blue side will face out. So it's just a good way of checking, obviously it's working, and you've got it around the right way. Yes. Oh, okay. So, and, sorry? It's not that good. So, I wish it was. Now, you're getting the ionized air out at the same time. Now, I'm just going to do, there's actually, I think I've got a little trick in my other pocket. The magnets everywhere. Just an electrical screwdriver that you test. Now, obviously green light comes on. There's actually 2,200 volts coming out of each needle. Now, not dangerous. You can touch them. There's no amps, right? So what happens when the air blows over those needles, it's a bit like being out in a thunderstorm. The air gets very fine, then the air smells sweet, and it feels really great in your lungs. That's the negative ions in your lungs coming from just the air. So I originally had one in there, and I had little fans that turned them up and down, and I thought that's silly, so I put 2 in, and I've got there's a computer fan, which is the only moving part in the machine, which blows across the needles and will treat your room at the same time. Most clinics that actually treat people, what they do is they have an oxygen machines in their clinics, and when you do a PEMF, they charge you extra and put you on the oxygen, which just you get more results out of the PEMF machine then. And that's why they do it. And I thought, well, why don't I just put the ionizer in the machine and have it run both ways? Okay. As I said, there's 16 different programs. Now, each program has a different frequency that heals different parts of your body. As I said, number 5 is mild scratchal pain, which is your nervous system. Now, without your nervous system, your whole body fails. Number 11 is a cartilage rebuild, because at our age, we've got knees, we've got all sorts of dramas, people can't walk, and stroke, Parkinson's disease and ADHD is, when you really get into it, it's a part of your left and your right part of the brain can't decide which way to go at the same time, and they get confused, and that's why people get the shakes. ADHD D people, a bit the same. My grandson drives my daughter up the wall because he's just so active all the time. And it just calms you down completely. Incredible. Chronic fatigue, long COVID, but probably most of us have got osteoporosis or arthritis, as we say. Now, because of my history, broken backs, bad, and being a farmer, lifting heavy weights all my life, I had critical pain. I've had many cortisone injections in my hips, the backs, everything, and they would only last, a month or two, and I'd have to go and have more injections, and all that, how much that cost through a lifetime. People in America now are buying these machines mainly because of maintenance, not because they've got a sciatic nerve problem. They want to prevent health issues actually happening. But I could go on all day, but we'll have a question time at the end. Okay, who can't use them? Obviously, we don't really know. Pregnant women, there's been no side effects, there's been no problems, but I would not take the risk, and doctors won't take the risk, so it's best to not, if you're pregnant, please don't use it. Pacemakers. Now, they could cause a problem because they've got batteries in them. The old pacemakers, I've been told, the magnetic field will affect the pacemaker. Now, most pacemakers only last 10 years, and apparently the pacemakers for the last 10 years are compatible with PEMF machines. So you'd really want to consult your doctor about that one, or your specialist. And it's like everything I always say, in certain medical issues, like always, you must check with your doctor. Okay, this is this going back beginning of this year. I was asked to bring my machine to a wellness centre. Now, at the wellness centre, Libby, who's sitting down there with the microscope, she's a naturopath. Anyway, what was happening, we were testing people's blood. Now, your blood is your lifeline of your body. Now, as you can see, on these are shots before the PEMF treatment. As you can see, they're all your cells. Now, those cells are unhealthy. Now, we had about 25 people a day over a weekend workshop come and get their blood tested. And that was the results to start with. Now, what Libby was doing is taking people's blood tests, and she had a TV there, a screen, the monitor, and that's what the dirty blood looks like. It's basically like black oil out of a car. The next screen, bang, 15 minutes later, after PEMF treatment, that's what their cells look like. And these people just go, wow, can't believe it. And they told me all sorts of stories. They've been everywhere, done everything, and nothing like this has ever cleaned their blood up so quickly. Now, before and after shots, normal distribution of Ka and Na ions balance. That's normal, the top one on top left hand, and the abnormal one in the middle, that's like your dirty blood. Then after 10-15 minutes, back to normal on the right hand side. That's how your blood should look like. That's a healthy cell. My grandson, he's the one with ADHD. Mate, lovable kid, but he drives me nuts. Now, the nervous system, when you've got ADHD, you're very active, and I think they got it all from me, to be honest. He used to drive his mother up the wall, and now he sleeps like a baby, and you'll notice the pet dog. Now, it's incredible. Animals know what's healthy and what's not. An animal will come when you're treating yourself. If you've got a pet, a dog or anything, they'll come and put their head on your knee because they want to share the treatment with you. It will take a lot of vets use PEMF treatment to treat arthritis, horses, dogs, everything. We're all built the same. If it's your blood or your animal's blood, and some people just buy these machines to treat their pets because they love their pets more than themselves, probably. I don't know. Cells, healthy cells. Only some cells get nutrients, and what happens is as soon as you start treating yourself with the PEMF machine, your whole blood changes from unhealthy to healthy cells, right? Now, people ask me, can it cure cancer? Can it cure this? Can it cure anything? The machine doesn't cure anything. Your own body immune system cures whatever ailment you've got. Now, it will assist in healing you. Now, as far as cancer cells go, what they say is the frequency that we've got it on, cancer cells are very hard on the outside, and your immune system can't penetrate into the cell to get rid of the cancer cell. Now, what happens with a PEMF shell? It will break down the outside hard core of the cell. That's why they always say it works on a cellular basis. Now, I've read several research articles. The Cancer Association actually recommends PEMF treatment with cancer treatment because it really does increase the recovery rate. Whether it completely kills or not, the jury's still out. I've left some flyers on the table there. Now, there's basically nothing the PEMF machine can't help you with except your love. Although that can help with love life. There's too many ladies here, so I won't ask anyone to put their hands up who's got ED problems, but it certainly helps your blood flow, and that obviously helps everything else, if you get what I mean. Now, I could talk all day long about circulation, range of motion, swiftness, pain, you name it, the PEMF machine will help. Now, I'm quite happy to take any questions you'd like to throw at me after the session here today. Now, as I said, there are dangers of PEMF machines. Who can use them, who can't? So, I'm not a doctor, of course, but this Dr. Stokes, I'm just going to play a short video on what he suggests we all do.
Hi, I'm Dr. Stephen Stokes. I own Advanced Pain Solutions in Fort Myers, Florida. One of the therapies we do that's very popular in this clinic is PEMF, Pulse Electromagnetic Field Therapy. And this is a miraculous treatment that has unlimited potential to really heal the body. Heal the body on a cellular level, not just masking pain, not just sort of covering up what's wrong by treating symptoms. And we get great results with PEMF therapy, but there is something about PEMF therapy that's never talked about that I want to address, and that is its role in detoxification. So the membranes of your cells have little holes in them, little channels. These are the potassium-sodium channels, and these are little holes that allow nutrition to flow back and forth in and out of the cell. And of course, when that works properly, the cell can get nutrition, and more importantly, the cell can get rid of the toxins that accumulate inside. So it's just a waste removal system, and that's a normal part of a healthy, functioning cell. When we're exposed to toxins, specifically heavy metals, these elements get caught or trapped in the channels, and they block the channels. And when this happens, the cell no longer has a method of removing waste. So you get this very toxic environment inside the cell that ultimately leads to cellular death. It leads to malfunction of the mitochondria of the cell. The cell cannot make any energy, and the cell just starts to deteriorate. And it's my understanding and my belief that this is the cause of most all degenerative disease. Even something simple like arthritis is a reflection of the cell's inability to remove waste products. And so when we have toxins, again, specifically heavy metals, these things can prevent that normal removal of waste in the cell. Pulse electromagnetic field therapy has the ability to basically shake the cell. And in the process of doing that, it frees those channels, those sodium-potassium channels, from toxins. So those toxins that are blocking the channel are removed, and the cell can now naturally perform its function. It can take in nutrition, and it can also eliminate waste products, which restores health to the cell, so the cell can go on to heal or do whatever task we want it to do. So this is an extraordinary mechanism that we can utilize with PEMF. What's never discussed is what happens once those toxins are removed from those channels. They're released into the bloodstream, where in a normally healthy person, those toxins should be broken down through the detoxification pathways, using the liver, the kidneys, the bowels, sweat. They should be removed. But unfortunately, most people that are already suffering from toxins and heavy metal poisonings, most of those people don't have healthy functioning detoxification pathways. So when we use PEMF therapy, we remove those toxins out of those channels and they're put into the bloodstream. And if the patient can't break those down and get rid of them, those toxins can redistribute to other tissues and can make the patient very sick. In fact, we see that. We see really sick people doing PEMF therapy, high dosages of high intensity PEMF therapy, and we see side effects. We see brain fog, we see anxiety, we see shortness of breath, ear hunger, headaches, nausea. I mean, we see all rapid heartbeat, increased blood pressure, all the things that would normally be associated with poisoning, really, we see in those patients. So it's really important that if we're going to utilize PEMF therapy, we have to make sure that the patient has the ability to detoxify those elements once we free them from those cellular membrane channels. And we have to support the detox pathways in PEMF patients, in patients that are getting pulse electromagnetic field therapy. It's essential. In my clinic, I find a product called SP Balanced Detox. These are shakes. The patient will have 1 to 3 shakes a day during the first 10 days of their PEMF therapy. These shakes have all of the necessary elements to support the detoxification pathways. And they also have some binders. Now, binders are also essential. So you have to support the detox pathway, but you also need these things called binders that basically will soak up the toxins once they're released from the cellular membrane. So a binder would be something like activated charcoal, apple pectin, chlorophyll. There's a lot of different binders. And what these do is they basically provide a big surface area so that when the PEMF therapy shakes the toxins out of the cellular membrane, they're bound to the binder, and then they can be easily eliminated in the bowels. So, I would recommend that anybody doing PEMF therapy, especially if you're sick. I mean, the sicker you are, the more you need to do this supplementation. The sicker you are, the more you need to really make sure that you're doing this sort of accessory treatments along with your PEMF. You want to definitely be taking a binder prior to doing your pulse electromagnetic field therapy, and you're also going to want to make sure that you're supporting the detoxification pathways properly. We also know that heavy metals and toxins deplete the body of minerals. And there's a common mineral, which is zinc, that universally gets depleted in almost every case of heavy metal toxicity, regardless of if it's arsenic, mercury, lead, doesn't seem to matter. Zinc is one of the primary minerals that are depleted. So we want to make sure that patients are taking a good mineral supplement to make sure that they don't get overly depleted. Hydration is very important in detoxification, of course. It makes sense. The more you urinate, the more you get rid of waste. But PEMF therapy also has a very strong ability to dehydrate the cell. You remember we're using this high intensity magnetic field to pulse the cell and basically to shake the cell. And as a result of that, especially when those channels get opened, we dehydrate the cell. So you're really going to want to, if you're doing PEMF therapy, make sure that you're taking in large amounts of fluids. I mean, an average recommendation is 64 ounces of water a day, but a person that's pulsing or a person that's going through pulse electromagnetic field therapy is going to want to take even more than that. You're going to want to make sure that not only are you taking in water, but you're getting enough salt and sugar. So in this particular case, it's not a bad idea even to have something, I hate to say it because I know there's going to be a lot of critics of this, but even something like Gatorade, where you're getting salt and sugar to replace the dehydration. You got to think of it like you're an athlete, going into this athletic event when you pulse, because that's what's happening, and you need to support it accordingly. PEMF therapy has unlimited potential to help the patient, but we have to make sure that we're supporting the patient so that their body can use the therapy in the right way so they can heal. And that's what this is all about. PEMF therapy is not a treatment that heals anything specifically. It's simply a modality that makes your body healthier, makes your cells function healthier. And a healthy cell is going to heal quicker and perform its job of innately healing the body. And that's what this is about. This is about making your body healthier so you can get better, not about treating any specific disease. There's a lot of research out there that suggests that all of these neurodegenerative diseases like ALS, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, a lot of these are caused by auto intoxication, which means that the brain tissue is unable to remove accumulated waste. And as a result of that, the waste builds up inside the cellular membrane and the cell begins to malfunction. And this is a problem that has been recognized, and PEMF therapy has a huge potential to correct this by allowing the cellular membrane to be free of any toxins so that those channels are open so the cell can get rid of its waste products and heal. So I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, please.
That's very informative. One thing Dr. Stakes didn't mention, I've had a few people that obviously got cancer and they're using the machine, and what happens when you on high doses of medication, chemotherapy, and all the drugs they use to help you with the getting through cancer. What happens, the PEMF machine make all these, because your blood's getting healthier, it means that the medication that you're taking at a time is more effective. So you have to be aware that instead of taking 10 pills, you might only need 5 pills. That's a very simple analogy, but basically you should really consult your doctor if you're on chemo or anything very serious like that. So the next slide is FDA approvals. What they do is they work out which frequencies are approved and what they're actually for. Now, all these frequencies are on here, and obviously that only goes up to 2011. There's been a lot more frequencies approved. As I said, cartilage rebuild has just been approved by the FDA for 75 hertz, and all those frequencies are all in this machine. Now, why I set this different programs at different frequencies, you can get machines where you can dial up the different frequencies, and from experience people ring me up and say, oh, I've got it on 950 hertz. I say, mate, that's crazy, go and blow your brains out. Now, it won't work. So I've limited it to what's been approved so that keep it simple, keep it stupid. I don't want people to cook the machine or cook themselves, and that's why I've put the different programs in it. That just about wraps it up, except for question time. Now, quite willing to take any questions, and I'm sure there's, I might judge a few hands. Yes.
Yeah, I've had type 2 diabetes. Which
Yes.
I've reversed,
Me too.
Which I've reversed, changing
Yep.
my lifestyle.
Oh, of course, yeah.
One of the problems is peripheral neuropathy, as you know, and my nerve ends are dead
Yes.
on the ball of my feet.
Yep.
Will this help?
Of course it will. Yes, most definitely. I've been there, done that. There's not many problems that I haven't had, and I was type 2 diabetes, and I fix it with diet and the machine.
Will it enliven the dead ends of the nerves?
Yes, it will regrow your stem cells. 400% increase, NASA tells you that. And I don't skite about my bad history. I've been carted off to hospital 13 times in an ambulance with chronic pain. My wife's gone to work and I couldn't even go to the toilet. I'd be on the floor and I'd be there all day until she comes home because I might have left my phone. I couldn't reach my phone. So yes, I've been in critical pain, and now with this I can flat hand on the floor, I can do whatever I want to do.
The thing is with my peripheral, I don't have any pain at all. No continuing pain. Just the dead ends of my nerves, that's all.
I think it will, I don't make any guarantees, but I'm very sure that it will make a huge improvement in your nervous system that will repair, your body will repair itself.
Okay, thank you.
Mike's a couple questions here.
Yes.
What are these binders he's talking about that you would take?
Binders,
Yeah.
very simple one, charcoal.
Oh, carbon?
Yeah, carbon. Yeah. It's any detoxing you do, all the toxins either get, as you said, you get stuck in your brain, it gets stuck in your liver. If you take the carbon, it actually glues, it sucks it on, and then you pull it out.
Is it easily found in Thailand, carbon?
Mate, I bought that at the 7-Eleven.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
tons
didn't
of
know.
it. And just go to your chemist, watch the video again, and see what he recommends. And those drinks, I'm going to get some of the drinks they recommend too. Gatorade, I'm not so
Gatorade.
sure about, but the electrolytes are pretty good for you. And you don't have to take them forever, just while you're using the machine.
Okay, one other question. Do you sell the machine without the ionizer?
No, I tell you why not. There's no moving parts in this machine except for the computer fan. Okay? Now, when you go to a wellness centre, they will hook oxygen onto you and charge you extra. You know, everything's an extra these days. So, because my friend has been building these things for 3 decades, the ionizers, I mean, and I used to sell them, and they actually have hoses that come off them, and I have got attachments that you can buy that they fit in here, and say if you've got a burnt foot, you put a plastic bag over your foot and put the hose in there, and your burn will heal incredibly fast with the ionized air on it. But what I'd say with these things here, if you've got a burnt foot, instead of putting a plastic bag, just put your foot in front of it.
But you can't
Simple.
But you can't turn it off, correct?
No, you can't turn it off.
See, that would be my problem. Ionizers put out ozone.
Yes, ozone.
And ozone is a strong lung and throat irritant. I had one. I already had problems back in Las
Yes.
Vegas in the desert. I had a pure machine that did it
Yep.
great.
Yep.
But I had got a chronic cough and I don't smoke. They tested
Yeah,
me for everything
okay,
in the world.
yeah.
And the doctor said, as I was talking, I got a purifier. He says, that's your problem. I turned
Yeah,
it off and
yeah.
the chronic cough went away.
We can turn it off, there's no problem. All we do is it actually has 2 very fine needles in there.
Okay.
All we do is take them off, in your case.
Yeah,
Out, rather.
Yeah, because I even started coughing about 3
Yeah,
weeks ago.
yeah,
It was high ozone
that
pollutant
is
here.
a fair point.
Yeah, you know, so that's the only thing
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not
working
arguing with
the
you.
ozone. Yeah.
True, but 99% of the people, it's great with.
Okay, so there's a way to block it or something?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No
cool.
problem.
Thank you so much.
How do you take the carb? Just as a drink? Or
Oh, yeah, it's a tablet. Just swallow it.
Oh, just as a tap.
No problem.
Okay, cool.
Does it affect your eyesight?
It only improves it.
It improves it.
Yes, certainly does. I've several people who have got a machine. They say, "Hey, I can see so much better." Unbelievable. Yes, it does. It will help your eyesight. The gentleman next to you.
I have to use a magnetically controlled shunt just under the skin of my scalp. If I use your machine, it's likely to upset the setting, which is controlled magnetically.
Good question. I don't know, to be honest. You'd have to ask your specialist about that one. I know with pacemakers, they're not magnetically controlled. They have got batteries in them. For the last 10 years, you can use them, but if in doubt, consult your specialist, please.
How broad, in other words, if I wanted to treat my low back, how broad this is going to affect the whole body, right?
Yes, certainly. As soon as you put it on your lower back, within a fraction of a second, it's right through your whole body, which leads me, which I didn't mention, and a lot of you will have a look, do your own research. You'll see a lot of PEMF companies selling PEMF mats. Now, PEMF mats is the latest thing on the internet to take your money away from you. Now, as far as I'm concerned, a PEMF mat, they work, they're fine, but there's no real point to them. They're great if you want to lie on the ground and lay on it, or put it on the couch, lie on it. The coil does exactly the same thing. The only thing I think the mats are great for is your pets, because it's pretty hard to, put the coil on the dog, But if you've got a PEMF mat on a bed for your dog, they'll lie on it all day long.
Thank you for the presentation. So how much are the machines and where can you get one? And then the second part is there enough research that a person can extend their life based on the usage of this?
Well, okay, I'll answer the second part first, which is the easy part. Will it extend your life? Okay, if you're healthy, common sense will tell you you're going to live longer. You've got healthy blood, got healthy cells, you're going to live longer, and you'll live with a lot less pain with one of these machines. Now, as I said, I live with chronic pain all my life, and chiropractors, doctors, pills, prescriptions, drugs, morphine, I've tried them all except the hard, heavy drugs. I have never gone down that path. But, in hospital, of course, all the androids, codeines and everything else that morphines that they would give you in hospital for chronic pain. I've tried all that, and it just made me feel terrible. So, yes, it will make you live a lot longer. Now, as far as costs of the machines go, what I've done here is, I told you before, I bought one in Thailand, and yes, I paid $10,000 for them. You can pay $1,000, you can pay $60,000 for them. Now, what I did is I got my fellow in Australia to make a medical one. There are low intensity machines, there's high intensity machines. They all work, but the high intensity machines, you get what you pay for. You get something that's actually going to do the job. Now, mine work out about a third of the price that you'll see on the internet, and we can organise a rent-buy system who people who can't afford them, or hopefully we're going to get some wellness clinics, to be able to treat people on a once off or two, whenever you feel to go in and use the machine. There is a clinic here apparently in Thailand, in Pattaya, that charge 2,000 baht for a half-hour session, and they mainly treat ADHD children. That one there, come and see me. Come and see me. George and Ran and I, we're going to do a deal for obviously anybody who's a member in the club. we'll work out a price for you.
I've got a couple of knees there with cartilage that's just about disappeared. As a matter of fact, my
Yes.
left knee, it has disappeared. And the doctor said, when I was doing a stem cell, he said the stem cell will develop what's remaining of the cartilage, but if the cartilage is gone, there's no hope of replacing the cartilage. Now, how is your machine actually going to create cartilage?
Okay. The FDA has just approved the cartilage rebuild, 75 hertz, which is in my machine, right? They only did that about a few months ago. Yes, it will. You've had stem cell injected into your knee, chemicals, could be fetus, could be all sorts of chemicals, okay? This is non-invasive, there's nothing injected into your knee. It's only worked on frequency, and yes, it will build it up from raw bone. Now, I've got a friend of mine, he lives here in Padua, a few years ago, and I have got a MRI to prove it. Now, 4 years ago, he retired here just after COVID finished. He went to Bangkok Hospital. He had syntosis in his back, neck. He could hardly walk up the stairs at our factory we had here. It was basically a cripple. And what happened is he had the MRI, and then he started PEMF treatment. 2 years after that, he went back. He knew he was feeling fantastic. He could run up the stairs. He has he's one of these retired guys who's got no family, but he's giving away his inheritance to all the lovely ladies and has a lot of fun. So, to answer your question, he now is an inch taller. Well, first of all, sorry, I forgot to tell you this. The doctor said to him, mate, go home. There's nothing we can do for you. I'm not going to take your money off you. A bone fusion, that's what he needed. They want to, because he had before COVID, he actually had specialists say, you need a bone fusion. Your back fusion has to be all fused together so that you can keep upright. Now, 4 years later, he's run around the place like a teenager, an inch taller. He's had another MRI, and we actually got the MRI read by AI, so there's no human interference, and we've got all the results, which I will put on the website to just prove the difference before and after shots of this guy's. Although thinking back, he was using frequency 10 hertz, which is just for overall body rebuild, but 75 hertz has only just been approved, and obviously he wasn't using 75 hertz, but it still did the job and rebuilt his cartilage in his whole back system. So I can guarantee you that you'll feel like a teenager again and be able to run around.
Hopefully not quite as dumb. Okay. All right, Jeffrey. I didn't. Oh, that was just to say hello. Okay. All right.
And Michael, thank you very much for a really, really great presentation. I've worked with a very, very small version of this kind of machine, and they are tremendously effective. And from my experience, you're absolutely right. The little ones, the lower frequencies, do not do what that one could do. So my one specific question for you is kind of wrapped in a few things. You talked about, we saw the list of the FDA approvals. So as an American, that means something to me.
Sure.
Access means something to me. I used to work with a lot of vulnerable populations like we have in Thailand, with people who do not have the money. So what do you know about insurance coverage for these in clinics? And also, is there any documentation about using this in substance abuse clinics for alcoholism, drugs, food addiction, whatever? And I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, good question. First of all, insurance, they're not classified as a medical equipment, and because I've given them to a charity, and they have charity workshops, and they don't charge people for using the machines. Okay, and that's a bit of my way of paying things back. Because I never intended to take them to the open market. It was just pure demand. So many people, I was helping a lot of people, and people said, look, hey, I want to buy one. So that's why I started the business up, and my daughter's going to actually run the business. I'm just going to be in the background doing it. This is the only second time I've spoken to people. The first 45 people at the wellness centre, 20 people bought the machine. It was as simple as that. So I thought, well, why not help people? Getting back to the insurance, I would have to look into that. I am down the track in Thailand. What I would like to do is get them into some sort of foundation where we can help the poor. Obviously, the people off the streets can't afford to even pay 2,000 baht for a session, and that's apparently what these other people charge, which 2,000 baht to an Australian or American is probably not a lot of money, but to a Thai person, it's an awful lot of money. Fantastic, yeah. We could use all the help. Another question, mate?
No, question over here. Question at the back.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry, one more. Oh, okay. All I know is they've been approved through the FDA to treat the returned soldiers for postnatal depression, big time. There's clinics all over America treating soldiers. So it really does help with depression, Alzheimer's, all the low hertz. There's an alpha and a delta hertz. One will relax you, put you to sleep calmly. The delta one is when you start dreaming and send you into heavy sleep. So you have to alternate between the two, because you don't want to go in the delta one for too long, because you wake up feeling terrible. Even though you might have slept 5 hours straight, you wake up and think, oh, I haven't been asleep at all. We've all been there. Okay.
Approximately 8 years ago, there was a presentation given for one of these machines at the Other Expats Club.
Yes.
The machine itself was considerably larger than this one. They were charging 1,000 baht for an hour session.
Sure.
And I actually went and had a couple of sessions. Then the machine broke down.
Sure.
And they had to get parts from America to get it repaired. Have you the facility to get these machines repaired in a quick basis?
I could. We will always have a spare machine to start. We can either swap it out, depending what's wrong with you. But and when you first start off, because there's no moving parts except the fan, it's all electronic gear in there. So basically, yes, we haven't had any major problems. The only problem I had was I had in this machine was actually, I sold a lovely lady one machine. She ended up buying 4 machines off me for her family, and she had a brother that was a bit slow, and he was about 50 years old, and he had a really bad back. He's going to the chiropractor 3 times a week because he was sitting on the couch all day watching TV. So they rang me up and said, oh, there's a problem. Anyway, all it was a cord that came loose because he was holding it like this all the time. Now you've got 1.3 kilos of copper wire in there. It is very strong, but I'm not sure what he was doing with it, but it came a little bit loose. But I had that fixed within 24 hours. And I will be setting up in a full spare parts. What's going to happen, I'll be bringing a lot more machines over here. I'll get certain parts made in Thailand, and service won't be an issue.
Okay, we've got John here. Last question.
Hello.
Hello, John.
Very interesting. We spoke last week
Yes.
And you were going to electrocute me, but
I was going to,
Remember
well,
around
you're a bit shorter this week by
lot of people
standing
would
up
like
here.
to do that. No. Just listening to you, sort of remembered, because I'm getting older, a doctor, professor orthopedic. He was talking about I said, how do you repair these snapped tendons or snapped ligaments? He said, we are now using a carbon material that the military used to actually connect it. And I said, well, what happens to the carbon material? And he actually said that the electrical power of your body will gradually feed along that carbon and make the joint permanent. So there's an incident.
Yeah, well, carbon is one of the best conductors of electricity. So, and what's happened in my case, I've got 3 plastic discs in my neck. Now, before PEMF, I felt like Lurch, as I said. I was just so stiff, sore. Every night, I couldn't have the air conditioning on. It was hot. I just had to have the fan on, and then even if I had the fan, then I get a chill in my back, and it was just my quality of life wasn't that great. Then when I discovered the PEMF machine and it freed it all up, probably I still get frozen up when I get in a car and the guy's got the air conditioning going full bore. That drives me nuts still, but you can't get blood flow through plastic discs. So, but my muscles around the disc are perfect now. It just felt like I was grating my neck every time I moved. I could feel my muscles grate. It just felt terrible. But certainly the PEMF just changed my life, and I'm back to normal now, or almost normal. Yeah, so anyway, I hope everybody got a little bit out of today's.
Round of applause for our speaker. If there's any more questions, he has said that he's going to hang around for half an hour and give people free goes at the machines over there. We do have a small token of our appreciation for you giving this very informative talk.
Thank you.